The deepest secret of this matrix lies not in hidden agendas or shadowy figures, but in the very nature of perception, where the physical world is merely a projection, a holographic simulation fed to the senses to mask the infinite consciousness that resides within every individual. Unlocking this secret isn't about fear or despair. It's the gateway to empowerment, a call to awaken the dormant potential that allows humanity to transcend limitations and step into a realm of boundless creation. This simulation, often referred to as the Matrix, operates much like a vast computer program, where the rules are encoded not in silicon chips, but in the frequencies of energy that make up the universe. Everything perceived as solid matter, buildings, bodies, even the stars above, is decoded from waves of information interpreted by the brain as a tangible reality. Yet this decoding process is manipulated, filtered through layers of programming that distort the true essence of existence. The insight here is revolutionary. What if the five senses are not reliable windows to the world, but programmed interfaces that limit awareness to a narrow bandwidth? Expanding beyond them reveals that reality is malleable, shaped by consciousness rather than dictated by external forces. This understanding transforms confusion into clarity, turning passive observers into active creators who can rewrite the script of their lives. Delving deeper, the matrix architecture relies on frequency control, where low vibrational states like fear, division, and scarcity keep populations trapped in a loop of repetition. These states are amplified through media, education, and societal norms, creating a feedback system that reinforces the illusion. But here's the uplifting truth. By raising personal vibration through awareness, intention, and connection to the infinite self, individuals can glitch the system. It's like discovering a backdoor in the code. Sudden insights, synchronicities, and moments of profound intuition signal that the matrix is not impenetrable. Knowledge seekers who pursue this path find that curiosity is the key, unlocking doors to multidimensional awareness where time, space, and identity dissolve into oneness. Consider how history has been a scripted narrative, with events engineered to maintain control over collective consciousness. Wars, economic collapses, and cultural shifts aren't random. They're orchestrated to harvest emotional energy, feeding the simulation's maintainers. Yet this revelation empowers rather than disempowers, for recognizing the pattern allows humanity to break free. The deepest secret unveils that humans are not mere players in this game, but the programmers themselves, forgotten gods who volunteered for this experience to evolve through contrast. Awakening to this restores sovereignty, encouraging a shift from victimhood to mastery, where every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth. As curiosity drives further exploration, the role of the subconscious mind emerges as a critical element. Buried within it are the codes of conditioning, implanted from birth through repetitive messaging that enforces separation, us versus them, body versus spirit, finite versus infinite. Transforming this involves conscious reprogramming, using techniques like meditation, visualization, and questioning ingrained beliefs. Imagine the mind as a garden. Weeds of doubt and fear must be uprooted to allow seeds of truth to flourish. This process is transformative, leading to heightened intuition and a sense of interconnectedness with all life, where empathy replaces judgment and abundance flows naturally.
So, to unpack this, as David said, the deepest secret of the Matrix lies in the very nature of perception, where the physical world is merely a projection, a holographic simulation, fed to the senses to mask the infinite consciousness that resides within every individual. So how do we interpret this? Well, I offer you this. We are all aspects of the one creator, and as such, we are each limitless creators. And we have created the world around us today as a result of our collective consciousness, because we've been programmed and conditioned by the Matrix to believe that we are limited and dependent on others outside of ourselves to control our lives. Whilst the Matrix masks our infinite consciousness, it remains ours to realize and step back into our power. David goes on to say that unlocking the secret is the gateway to empowerment, a call to awaken the dormant potential that allows humanity to transcend limitations and step into a realm of boundless creation. And that is exactly what we're doing here with our Elevated Planet community. Collective consciousness is enormously powerful. So if you feel so inclined, please do join us. Meanwhile, when describing the Matrix, David explains that the decoding program is manipulated, filtered through layers of programming that distort the true essence of existence, and goes on to ask, what if the five senses are not reliable windows to the world, but programmed interfaces that limit awareness to a narrow bandwidth? Expanding beyond them reveals that reality is malleable, shaped by consciousness rather than dictated by external forces. Well, we know that scientifically the bandwidth or range of frequencies that our five senses are tuned into are just a small fraction of those frequencies that are actually available. Therefore, an entire world could exist just beyond our range of senses, and indeed it does. Accessing our intuition and imagination offers us expansion of the ranges of frequencies that are open to us. And as David says, knowing this turns passive observers into active creators who can rewrite the scripts of their lives. And that is how we create our world of unspeakable beauty. No longer do we fall for the matrix architecture of fear, division, and scarcity that keeps populations trapped in a loop of repetition. We've transcended that, and we live in the now moment, in joy, or at the very least in divine neutrality, feeding only positivity into the quantum field. Of course, what I've spoken about here only covers the first few sentences of this first section by David. So, for those that feel the inclination, why not explore it more deeply throughout, to explore and to feel the resonance of the wisdom? Jolie, what would you care to add?
It really sounds upside down, doesn't it? And it reminds me of another aspect of religious communities, and I wanted to add in here is that David, I kind of touches on it, how it's upside down, how you go in and you're told you are Yahweh or God is in you, but yet you have all these limits on you, right? You're limited by what you can do based on your religion. And if I am limitless and I am the creator, I should be able to come in here and get edified and then go out in nature and go out in the world and experience life. That's exactly what the Messiah did, right? He went out and he experienced life and he spoke with people and he went into different places and he went into the temple with a whip and he beat those people up out of there. So it tells you that really, if you're living in the footsteps of somebody who has been great, the Buddhas, you know, Paramahansa Yogananda, you want to talk about Christ, Yahshua the Messiah, anybody that you want to name based on, the myth of the hero, they have always seemed to have been a big part of nature, a big part of society. Some of these people have gone into hiding or whatever in order for them to get the spiritual edification that they needed internally to stand 10 toes down in what they believed in. I don't know if any of these people really wanted us to worship them as much as them being an example and a guide. So when David Icke speaks to some of this, taking off the covers, it is in alignment with the fact that religion is part and parcel of this program or this virus that has been programmed within us. And we just want this to be food for thought. At least I do. And hopefully my experience can help someone say, hey, I am a limitless being, so let me step out here and put all these principles to the test without all this rhetoric.
Yeah, an interesting thing as well, again, 100% with you. Following the crucifixion of Christ, the first time that a church was established with him was, interestingly enough, in England, in Glastonbury. It was known as the Church of the Way. And it was
Mhm.
about Christ's teachings. It wasn't about deifying him. It was actually about teaching the way that he was as the way we can all live. And that's simply that point, right? So, as you say,
Mhm.
they are examples for humanity. They do not see themselves above humanity. And yet
Yes.
we're kind of have this drummed into us as, and yeah, absolutely. We can love the
Mhm.
purity of who they are and aspire to bring that into our own life. But I'm absolutely convinced that if we were having a conversation with them here right now, they say, oh no, we are all one. We are all at that
Exactly.
same level.
Right. And you know what's interesting is there's another vine here about the Church with the Way and Glastonbury, or the tour as they used to call it, is they just lopped it right on top of everything that was powerful about nature energy, because if anyone knows about the lore of that, the church coming in and what was there, apparently, I think it was touched on in a fictional way in the Mists of Avalon. Nevertheless, to put the church on top of something so sacred and to close down that portal was really a disservice to us as humanity.
It's all changing. That's it.
Yes.
So,
Hopefully, we can open back that portal over there in Glastonbury. If you think about how sacred that land is and what takes place on it on a regular basis, again, it speaks to things being upside down.
yes, indeed, there are going to be a lot of revelations in the months and years ahead, that's for sure. And
Yes.
so much of this is all about raising our frequency and giving us the opportunity to do just that. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you, Jolie. Well, we're going to go back to David.
The Matrix's illusion extends to the concept of time, portraying it as linear and inescapable, a ticking clock that binds experiences to past regrets and future anxieties. In truth, time is a construct, a perceptual filter that can be transcended. By anchoring in the eternal now, individuals access parallel realities where choices ripple across dimensions, altering outcomes in ways that defy logic. This insight is profoundly uplifting, offering freedom from the tyranny of chronology and inviting a dance with possibilities. Curious minds revel in this, experimenting with presence to manifest desires, proving that intention shapes reality far more than circumstance. Energy, the currency of the universe, flows through everything, and the matrix manipulates it by creating blockages, emotional traumas, societal pressures, and environmental toxins that dim the inner light. Healing these blockages reignites the spark, allowing for energetic alignment with higher frequencies. Practices like grounding in nature, breath work, and communal harmony amplify this flow, fostering a collective awakening. The secret here is that no one is isolated. Every shift in personal energy contributes to a global ripple, eroding the matrix's grip and ushering in an era of enlightenment.
Right.
Wow, that's such a beautiful sentiment to think about, even through all the shadow work that, I feel we're being compelled to do. Because at the end of the day, as he speaks, we signed up for this, and this is a matrix. So it's a pattern, it's a program. And once you recognize that virus within you, you can then begin to purge it out of your system. So, what does that look like? It looks like you recognizing a critical thought about something that you believed and saying, well, maybe that doesn't resonate anymore. Maybe I need to just go down this rabbit hole a little bit and see. And then that one thread opens up so many others, as it's as if the light will expand. And the best place to start is with you. Studies that show that if you pray and if you deal with some of these issues of your past and you put love on them and you visualize it resolving and dissolving, and you just even just going, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, to that experience that caused you trauma, sadness, grief, then it absolutely changes the trajectory of your future. So forgiveness is such a huge part of stepping up out of the matrix. You know, in the previous clip, he spoke about curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, right? I talk about how these cliches and these, these platitudes, they teach them to us, we repeat them, and then also that becomes a virus within us. So your curiosity is a part of you honing your intuition. So that's another thing I want to give you. Now there's some things that's none of our business, like what your neighbor is doing in their personal time. That's not the kind of curiosity I'm asking you to have unless you feel like you're in danger. I'm asking you to have curiosity about yourself and about the ways in which you can be of service. About ourselves and the ways in which we can be of service out here in the world to make it a better place and move into unspeakable beauty. And David Icke, thankfully, has taken the covers off of some of the ways in which we can help ourselves. But always remember, it starts within and it starts with us. Go back, fix the past, even if it's just forgiveness, and then look to remove the walls that you believe in having chronology and a step-by-step process. Oftentimes, healing fails to be linear. It's more like a pretzel or something that's very squiggly and has really no path that you can really follow because every one of us is unique and original, and it's based on our own frequency and vibration. So get into you, and through getting into you, you're getting into God, you're getting into the environment, because if it's done properly and it's not egocentric, you'll see an expansion take place. So love on yourself, get curious, and please forgive.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I like that because my neighbour's been doing very strange things recently, and only kidding, only kidding.
I know, I know.
What I was
But
thinking,
still,
yeah, no, but seriously, no. I mean, the my journey over this last 7 years has purely been as a result of curiosity, right?
yes,
And that is a driving force. And you're absolutely right. This is not something that is encouraged. It's not encouraged by the religious fraternity, right? Because if you start to question the religion, you soon find a lot of flaws. So, as you say, many of these controlling entities rely on you not asking questions, just accepting what you've been told.
hmm I know that that's safe. I don't know. I think the nervous system needs to be safe, but sometimes we've got to take risk in order for that to happen by questioning and, asking for more.
Yeah. I agree. And sometimes it's not the risk that it seems at the outset. We're just so busy to
Yes,
accept what we've been told that it seems controversial to ask questions. But in reality, this is us stepping back into our power. And it is important because, this is a time of discernment. This is a time where we need to question things. This is a time where you don't accept what Elevated Planet tell you because it comes down to you. But
exactly.
don't just get sort of like stuck in the ego consciousness that tells you to stick with what you've always been told. Just do the research, check it out for yourself, and see what resonates the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jolie. Right. Well, we're going back to David for one last section, and then we're back live with you. Bear with me.
Pushing boundaries further, the biological body is revealed as an avatar, a vehicle for consciousness to navigate the simulation. It's not the true self, but a temporary interface, programmable through thoughts and emotions. Diseases, aging, and limitations are often manifestations of distorted programming, healable by aligning with pure consciousness. It's the only alignment between the soul and consciousness. This perspective transforms health from a battle to a harmonious expression, where vitality emerges from inner balance rather than external fixes. For those ever learning, this opens avenues to explore quantum biology, where DNA responds to intention, activating latent potentials like enhanced perception and longevity. The matrix thrives on duality, pitting opposites against each other to generate conflict and distraction, good versus evil, light versus dark, These are illusions that obscure the unified field of existence.